If you're hearing this, I need you to listen carefully. I'm recording this before midnight because if what I'm about to tell you is true, I won't have much time left. 3 weeks ago, I found an old radio in an abandoned house at the edge of town. At first, I thought it was just a strange antique. Then it started broadcasting the future. Not the weather, not the news. Deaths, specific deaths, names, times, and places exactly 24 hours before they happened. I know how unbelievable that sounds. I wouldn't have believed it either. But after everything I've witnessed, I don't think that radio predicts death. I think it has a connection to it. And now, it's speaking about me. 3 weeks ago, I was filming content in an abandoned house deep in the woods. The locals called it the Hollow House. It had been empty for decades. The windows were shattered, the walls were covered in mold, and the floorboards groaned beneath every step. I was walking through the upper floor when I heard music. Faint, distorted music hidden beneath a layer of static. The sound led me into the attic. There, sitting alone beneath a broken window, was an old wooden radio. It looked ancient. The finish had faded long ago, and dust covered every inch of it. The strange thing was that it was playing despite having no visible source of power. As I stepped closer, the music stopped. A man's voice emerged through the static. Calm, clear, professional. He said, "Tomorrow, 7:14 p.m. Michael Reeves. Vehicle collision. Highway 16. Then the broadcast ended. I remember laughing. I thought someone had hidden a recording inside the radio as a prank. I took the radio home and placed it on a shelf in my apartment. The next evening, while editing footage, I heard static again. The radio was active despite being unplugged. The same voice returned. Tomorrow, 3:21 p.m. Linda Morris. Cardiac arrest. Oak Street Grocery. I stared at the radio, waiting for more, but that was all it said. Curiosity got the better of me. I searched for both names online. Nothing unusual appeared, just ordinary people. Then my phone buzzed. A breaking news notification reported that a man named Michael Reeves had died in a collision on Highway 16. The reported time of the accident was 7:14 p.m., exactly as the radio had announced. I tried to convince myself it was a coincidence. But the next day, I drove to Oak Street Grocery and waited. At 3:21 p.m., an elderly woman collapsed near the checkout counters. The paramedics arrived within minutes, but there was nothing they could do. Her name was Linda Morris. That was the moment I realized the radio wasn't guessing. It knew. Every night after that, the broadcasts continued. A teacher, a mechanic, a nurse, a teenager, different names, different locations, different causes of death. Every prediction came true. I started keeping notes. Dates, times, names, locations. I filled entire notebooks searching for a pattern. At first, there didn't seem to be one. The victims had no connection to each other. No shared workplace. No shared neighborhood. Nothing. Then I decided to intervene. When the radio announced a woman named Sarah Collins, I tracked down her contact information and begged her to leave her apartment for the night. I warned her that something terrible was going to happen. She thought I was insane. The next evening, a fire broke out in her building. Sarah Collins didn't survive. After that, I stopped trying to save people. Every warning failed. The future seemed fixed. As the days passed, I noticed something unsettling. Many of the names appearing on the broadcast belonged to people I had spoken to. People connected to my attempts to investigate the radio. The closer someone got to the story, the more likely they were to appear in a future broadcast. The realization terrified me. It was as if the radio was spreading, like a disease. I decided to get rid of it. I locked it inside a storage unit across town. Heavy chains, multiple locks, no electricity. The following night, I sat alone in my apartment. At precisely 9 o'clock, I heard static. The radio wasn't there, yet I could hear the broadcast. A voice emerged from the empty room. Tomorrow, 11:08 p.m. David Turner. Fall from height. David Turner was the manager of the storage facility. The next night, He died exactly as predicted. That was when I understood something horrifying. The radio didn't need to be near me anymore. Somehow, it had become part of my life, part of my thoughts, part of my mind. Desperate for answers, I dismantled the radio piece by piece. Inside, there was nothing. No circuits, no wires, no speaker components. Just an empty shell. Hidden beneath the wooden casing, however, I found a small metal plate engraved with a frequency, 104.7. I spent days researching it. Eventually, I discovered records of a local radio station that had operated on that exact frequency during the 1950s. The station's history ended abruptly. One night, every employee inside the building died during a live broadcast. Witnesses claimed the announcer had spoken the names of the victims moments before their deaths. The station was demolished shortly afterward. Official reports dismissed the incident as hysteria, but something about the story felt familiar. That evening, I drove to the location where the station once stood. Only an empty field remained. The moment I arrived, static erupted from the radio. The sound became deafening. Then came voices. Not one voice. Hundreds. Thousands. All speaking at once. Reciting names. Dates. Times. Deaths. An endless chorus stretching beyond comprehension. Standing there in the darkness, I realized the truth. The radio wasn't predicting the future. It was replaying it, remembering events that had already happened from a perspective beyond time. The next night, the broadcast changed. For the first time, I heard my own name. The voice spoke slowly. Tomorrow, 11:59 p.m. Ethan Walker. Then silence. No cause. No location. No explanation. Just my name. I spent the next 24 hours running. I left town, changed locations repeatedly, avoided crowds, avoided roads, avoided anyone who might put me in danger. As midnight approached, I waited in a motel room hundreds of miles away. 11:30, still alive. 11:45, still alive. 11:58, still alive. When the clock finally struck 11:59, nothing happened. No accident, no attack. No sudden pain. Nothing at all. Midnight arrived. I laughed. For the first time in weeks, I felt relief. Then my phone rang. The screen displayed an unknown number. I answered. A familiar voice spoke. My voice. It sounded exhausted, terrified, barely human. The voice said, "Don't listen to the radio tomorrow." Then the call ended. I checked the call information. According to the timestamp, it originated 24 hours in the future. That was when everything finally made sense. The broadcasts were never about death. Not entirely. The radio wasn't predicting who would die. It was selecting who would join it. Every voice inside the static had once been a listener. Every announcer had once heard the broadcasts. The reason my death had no listed cause was simple. I wasn't going to die. At least not in the usual sense. I was becoming part of the signal, part of the endless transmission. The next voice warning strangers about tomorrow's deaths. And now, as I sit here recording this message, the static is growing louder. The radio is beside me. I can hear thousands of voices whispering through the noise. Names, dates, times, predictions. The broadcast is beginning again. I don't know what will happen when midnight arrives. I don't know whether this recording will help anyone, but I know one thing. If you ever hear a voice on an old radio announcing someone's death tomorrow, turn it off. Do not listen. Do not stay curious. And whatever you do, if the voice ever speaks your name, don't wait to hear the rest.